Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another broadcast of Business Development TV TT. I am Hilary De Freitas and social media marketing strategist, and joining me as usual, Bernadette Chinley, WSI.
WSI, Digital Marketing Strategist, and we have a special guest for you, Matt Barron, our favorite ad expert. Why are we inviting Matt to speak to our audience, to our broadcast? That's a great question. Because last week we covered the importance of having a great content plan, and that great content plan is going to give you profitable results. So if that's what you want, you start here. You can watch a full session that we did last week with Kate Buck when you join our Facebook group, Business Development TV, Trinidad and Tobago. The link is going to be listed below the video. Is there a speed hack with building your online relationships with your brands, with your to-be clients, or with your current clients? We discuss what will it cost me? The question people ask when they want to go online, when they want to do digital marketing, is it going to cost me anything? Is there a speed hack? Is there a trick? Is there tips and to get this done faster? In the organic content plan, social media posts that you put up, we definitely covered that last week with Kate Buck. And today we're going to discuss that same thing with regards to, and what is online relationship depend on? It depends on your relevancy to the market that you're trying to get to. It depends on your transparency, because people don't want to opt in and then realize, oops, I got it the wrong person. He's selling me something different from what his ad is. And also in conversion. A good social post, a good ad post image is more than just the image. It's a lot depends on the copy. And so this week we want to talk to you. We want to help you get to better, stronger, longer lasting online relationships. So if that's what you want, if you want profitable sales, you want profitable digital media campaigns, then lean in, listen up. Today, we want you to understand that social advertising works for us. It works because we follow the concepts that deliver leads and sales, and concepts that we have learned from the MattyB himself.
All right. So as we said, our guest today, Matt Barron, one of the most sought after direct response paid advertising specialists, I will say, in this space. I mean, everything that we, as Bernie said, everything that we've learned in this space comes from MattyB, and we thank him for being here today. He's created some amazing social promotions that have turned ad dollars into positive revenue. A lot of people, they spend money on ads and they don't get the returns. Matt has actually seen return on investment from ads, and that's why we have him here today. So thank you, Matt, for joining us.
It's a pleasure to be here.
All right. So one of the things that I want to kick off first off is, we in our market, do you see all types of advertising as the same? So we're talking search, social, display, geo-targeting. Do you see them all the same? And that's the first thing that I want to kick off with here, in terms of other business owners understanding where their ads should fall.
No, it's a great question, and they're really not all the same in terms of how the user interacts with them. So let me just kind of compare, let's say, two, because some people are like, okay, well, Google and Facebook are the two big advertisers out there. When I say Google, I talk about their display network, their AdWords, and their YouTube. But in actuality, they're very, very different platforms, and people go to them for very different reasons. So For example, if you're on Google, typically when you're typing in some sort of Google search where you'd be covered by AdWords, you're going to be in uh, a fact-finding state of mind. So, you know, you typically are looking for, you've got a problem, you want a question answered, you're looking for something in particular. The same with YouTube as well. A lot of times in YouTube, and again, people are bored, but you're looking for something in particular. You want something, you've already got something in mind, so you're pre-sold already on what exactly that is that you want. So in some circumstances, that can be a good thing and it can be a bad thing. It can be a good thing when you know, you've got item B or item A, and the person, you know, this person wants item A, and you put it out in front of them and they're looking for it. Boom, that's a very easy conversion because they're already looking for it. It can lead sometimes when there's a bit more of an education piece to it and they've got to be taken down a funnel and sold. It's not always that great. But when you compare that to Facebook, you know, Facebook, people are on Facebook. Typically, they're not, they don't necessarily have a problem. They're not looking for a problem. They're bored. They're checking out friends and family, seeing what they're up to lately, seeing who might have commented on their posts. But they're not in the mindset where they're looking to have a problem solved usually. So the type of ads that you need to put up there compared to Google are going to be a lot more native based to that particular platform and not going to be usually very selly, you know, sell. I'm not sure what the best word is, but usually straight up going for the sale right away. You've got to have a little bit of an education piece in there because it's called interruption marketing. You're interrupting that person as they're scrolling through the Facebook advertisement, and you're, you know, jumping in there with an ad. And a lot of times, you know, if the person's not ready to buy, they're not ready for an ad. It's like a commercial to them almost. And that's kind of the two different. So you have to handle them very different with Google. And a lot of times you can be more direct. Like I said, you've got item A, the person wants item A, you can send it to them. There's not a whole lot of pre-sale that takes place on there. With Facebook, it's a bit different. You've got to be able to like touch them emotionally. When people are going through Facebook feeds, they're being entertained essentially. When they're going through Google, they're looking for the solution, but Facebook, they're looking to be entertained. They want to be read the posts of their friends, of their online friends, and they want to be able to see like, okay, well, this particular story, so-and-so is doing such, so-and-so is doing such. So when you're creating your advertisement, you've got to be able to entertain them in a way. And that doesn't mean it has to be, I make that sound like it's some sort of huge masterful thing you've got to create. No, that's not the case, but it's just a very different way of doing your advertisement. It can't be a simple, similar to Google, where it's like, we've got the top prices and yada, yada, yada of all the lawnmowers, here we go. You've got to be able to tell a little bit of a story on your Facebook ads.
Right. Well, yeah, that's the main difference between the Google ad and the social ad is the emotion, and the emotion has to connect to the story. And like I heard Seth Godin talk about yesterday, I forgot who he gave the kudos to, about the story has to be about me, my story has to talk about you, and my story and has to solve our problem. And you know, that's because a lot of people say, you know, you got to sell from the historian, but you got to tweak your story. You can't just throw any story out there. So yes, stories work, but you got to work on it. The next, yeah,
make it relevant to, you got to make it relevant to the viewer. Yeah,
exactly. The story has to be relevant to you have to match the product to the scenario that the person is going to solve with your product. Yeah. So the next question we're getting here is, how could my business use online advertising to reduce digital marketing transformation? Because that's the COVID era we are in right now. You know, you want people to be able that when they search for your solution that you pop up, but in the same sense, yes, I have a website, I have 4 retail stores, and previously everybody used to come into the store, so I didn't have a problem. But now with all this COVID stuff happening, a lot of people think that I'm closed for business. So how do I get the information out there that I am open for business? Now, when I say open, I mean open in a very discreet way, because if the authorities find you open for business, but your
Mhm.
doors open, you get into trouble. But you have to figure out how, because I'm sure because the frequent customers still need to buy. Like for instance, right now I'm out of POW and I need POW, but I need to figure out how to get in touch with my favorite restaurant to tell them, please deliver POW to me, or something like that. But in the online world, do I now have to go into an e-commerce website? I have a typical website that just have stuff about me. Do I have to invest in a chatbot? Do I have to invest in online advertising? And I've never done it before. Do I have to invest in what other systems do I have to do in order to digitally transform my business?
So that's a great question, and there's two aspects to this. One, right now, if that's what you're looking to do, if you really haven't had a digital presence before and you sell stuff, and meaning sell stuff, it would be a lot of times tangible goods. It doesn't really necessarily food. Food's a little different, but the best way to do that would be, and you can do this, it's never been easier to do this, is open a Shopify store. I want to say it runs about $20 a month, and it's a pre-made store for you. And I believe actually through June they're offering it for free to help out these small businesses.
Exactly.
I think through some, I don't quote me on that, but I think I might have heard that. But sign up for that, and then it's never been easier to get a store done. I remember back in 2007, I built a store for a drop shipping thing I was working on, and it was done with Yahoo, and it took probably a good 100 hours to try to put this store together just with that old Yahoo software. Now the templates are done there for you. It's simple, easy. You can actually hire somebody to actually, for like $100, they'll set up your store for you and put your items in there. They take your credit card, they take credit card orders. So right there, you've got your store website. Two, so the interesting thing with what's been going on right now, and it's both bad and good depending on how you look at it, but a lot of businesses in the past 6 weeks have completely stopped advertising on Facebook. Take that for example, two of my clients, I have one that's in they make organic dates and they make them in these little boxes. So they're perfect for like snacks or shipping to people or whatever. Their stuff's gone way up. People want to buy that stuff. They want it delivered to them. They don't want to go out to the store. This other one, they make baseball bags. So bags for your baseball bats. Obviously nobody's playing baseball right now. Nobody knows when they're going to start playing baseball. And this is mainly for like travel baseball leagues, but his right now, he's just not getting, they weren't getting sales. He's got to stop. So that there's been a lot of advertisers that have completely stopped spending on Facebook. Now, and people may have heard me talk about this before, but Facebook runs on an auction tool. And basically they've got a certain amount of space in their news feed because they don't want to put too many ads in there. But basically, when you go in, through the Facebook AI platform, and it's way too complicated for me to ever understand. But essentially, your price is determined by how many people and how many competitors you have bidding. So what happens when all of a sudden you have 50% less competitors? Well, there's now a lot more space than there are people that want to buy it. So now all of a sudden, where before we saw in the last couple of years that the demand was keep going up and the supply was going down, the amount of space, and people want to buy more and more ads. Now all of a sudden there's a lot less demand and a lot more supply. So what's happened is that the cost to advertise on Facebook, and again, depending on the industry, I think for stuff where you've got much more broader markets, things like, like dogs, like in the dog niche, for example, or like in the, I can't think, but the broad niches, those are very down. Like the cost for those are down. You've got still very niched ones where people are advertising a lot in, like the make money online type stuff. That's what people are, people love to buy that stuff, especially right now, because they're looking for ways to make extra money. So there's a lot more advertisers in that. But if you're a store, if you're something, the prices are just rock bottom. You haven't seen these since like 2015. So open up a free Shopify store. It's free. It might take an hour to do. And if you really don't want to do it, you could probably spend a couple $100 and hire somebody to do it. I think they even actually, when you go and sign up for Shopify, they give you the option of like meeting up with somebody or hiring somebody if they want to put everything in for you. And then start selling using Facebook ads. It's that simple, and it's never been cheaper. And I don't think, eventually at some point, this is all going to go away. Things are going to return to normal, and then people are going to start advertising online again. But I don't think that, I don't think we're going to see prices this low for a long time.
All right. That was great. I didn't even think of Shopify, but yeah, that makes sense. The quickest solution.
Free for right now, I think up through like June or something. I might be wrong, but I wanted to say I saw that they were helping people out. Yeah.
But yeah, the question people need answered right now is, what's the fastest way can I get my stuff out there to tell people this is how to connect with me? So that makes sense. Excellent.
Even, depending, Google ads too. Google's saying the same thing going on as well. So
supply is down. No, supply is up, demand is down. So now is the time to advertise.
Now's the time to get in there.
Yeah, good thing I had this question with you. I didn't know that. Okay. So the next question we have coming in is, what are some of the challenges in setting up an online advertising that removes the barriers? Like, for instance, I have a business. I'm not in marketing. I don't know anything about marketing, but I hear a lot of people saying that they want to do ads and they're getting success in ads, right? So therefore I want to do ads. So why is it that some people I'm seeing say, yeah, I get great results with my ads, but my person isn't getting ads for me? So what would you tell that business owner?
Well, I would say the first things first. So are you talking about somebody like hiring somebody to run ads for you, or are you talking about doing it yourself?
Correct.
Hiring somebody?
Mm-hmm.
I would find somebody new. It's possible that if that's going on and you've hired somebody, one of the two, there's two possible things. It could be a conversion issue, or it could be an issue with the advertising. It's hard to tell without looking into it. But if it's the advertising, obviously it's the advertiser's issue. They need to, I'd say get somebody new. Two, if it's a conversion issue, I would look into getting some stuff fixed on your website, because then obviously, like, if they're going to your website, they're not making the buy, they're not buying stuff right there. So if you're getting good cost per clicks and you think you're getting targeted traffic, you want to make sure that it's as easy as possible and as seamless as possible for when the buyer clicks on your website to make a purchase. And that means stuff like do not have, so there's a really, if your audience is familiar with Russell Brunson, he kind of developed the concept of the funnel. And I don't actually think he developed the concept of the funnel, but he calls himself the father of the funnel or whatever. And basically, but the whole idea behind that is you go to a website and you've got 50 million things to do. You're relying on that person to like wade through all these things on your website to find that one thing and buy it and then go shopping and get out. A funnel leaves very little choices but one. So a funnel, basically, you're just giving them like one option, one or maybe two options. They go through it and then they buy. So basically, the more streamlined you can make and the more things on your website, the more barriers to the sale that you can remove on your website, a lot better it's going to end up being for you. And it's going to up your conversion rate big time.
Well, yeah, you kind of touched on it there, because the person the typical ads that I see in Trinidad and Tobago and in the Caribbean is that they would put an ad out there, and when I click on the ads because I want to see what people are doing, so they take them to the Facebook page. I'm like, really? And then the next thing is they take them to the home page, and by having a funnel, by having that back end of you click on this ad and it takes you into my funnel that I built. So therefore, as you said, you create the tunnel vision that keeps the person engaged. So yeah, that's the basics of the question there. So yes, you answered it. And that in a sense keeps the relevancy up high, because the person have seen the ad and they go through, and each step that they make brings them closer and closer, hopefully, to what they're looking for, be matching the message of the first ad to what it is that you're selling.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, and the more options you give on your website for the person to get lost, the lower your conversion rate goes. So and it's funny because people, when they get their websites built, they want to put all these buttons and gadgets on there. They want all these social things on there. They want all these pages on there. And it's like, if you just keep it simple, people don't want to get lost. Back in 2008, that was much more acceptable. I mean, you could send somebody to a website and it was kind of taken, it was kind of assumed that, I'm going to have to it's going to be like going to the mall. I'm going to have to look for what I want in here, and I'm going to have to browse and get out. Nowadays, attention's so low. The shorter you can make that experience for them, the better, because they're in and they're out, especially when it comes to e-com, when you're relying on them to buy on a mobile phone. People love shopping for e-com on mobile phones, which is great for e-com. That's why I think you see such a huge amount of people be successful with e-com on Facebook. But at the end of the day, nobody's going to sit for most people don't want to sit for half an hour shopping on their phone. They want that purchase experience to be really good,
Sorry. So great answer. So the next question we're seeing is, what should a company focus on in their advertising campaign that will help them to increase their customer conversion, collect leads and sales? How can I go from what I'm already doing right now to increase the conversion of an ad?
Yeah, so that's what I just mentioned was one. I would say two, you always want to have retargeting. And then essentially retargeting is, if people don't know, it's putting the Facebook pixel on your website and then sending another ad that's much more relevant to the person that's already visited your website, getting them to come back and make the purchase. So that's always going to up conversions, and it's very, very cheap. Those are very cheap conversions to do. It essentially gives your traffic a little bit of lift when you do that. The other one is just to have more things on your ad that, kind of more, and I talk about this in with what I've taught before. It's, if you imagine your ad kind of like a pinball machine, and if you shoot the ball up into the pinball machine, and your goal is to just kind of not have it go through the bottom and fall down, past the levers. So what you want to do is you want to have it full of stuff, of these little things that are going to keep the ball rotating up there and keep your customer within your website, in your, I should say not on your website, but in your sphere of influence. So it might be as something like having a chat bot on your website that just connects to your Facebook Messenger. So if somebody has a question about a product, they can send you a direct message right away instead of just leaving and going by. Or it might be a push notification on your website where it's like, okay, not everybody's going to sign up for that, but there are going to be a few. And, you can say something like, sign up for push notifications and get a coupon for 10% off. Stuff like that's going to keep them coming back to your website. So all those little things that you can kind of add to your website, to your campaigns and whatnot, that's going to actually help incrementally bring up your conversion rate. Because if somebody just goes to your website and they don't buy right away, and you don't have anything else that's going to bring them back, and you're not even retargeting, I mean, they're gone. So you're just relying on a small portion of the people that come to your website to actually buy, and those margins get pretty thin, usually, unless you've got something that people really, really want. So doing other things like having retargeting, having push notifications, having a messenger chat bot on your, you could have it on your website, you could have it on your, and I'm looking down here at the Zoom page, and Zoom's even got one on there. Have it on your website. You could have it on, people on your Facebook profile, having stuff like, YouTube videos, for example. People, if they don't buy, a lot of times what they'll do is they'll go back and look up your product online, they'll write review or best such and such. And they go and they find you, and they go and they find YouTube. Well, if you're not up there and they find an alternative, you've just lost your customers. So stuff like that, where you've got the ability to keep bringing them back to your website, is really important. And what that ends up doing, and it's really not, other than retargeting does cost some money. It's not a lot, but other than that, those type of things don't cost any extra. And what that does is it brings extra clicks back to your website. And if you look at the aggregate of all your clicks and stuff like that versus how much you pay, it brings down the total cost per click. And what it does is it up your conversions as well.
Excellent. So yeah, you just wrapped up the organic content and the other types of content you need to put out there for your ads costs to get lower and lower and more profitable. Excellent. Thank you for tying that in. So we have another question coming in. It says, are there hidden activities that an ad expert executes after the ad? In other words, what am I missing after I upload my image to Facebook? I tell people that I have an offer to do, and I put in the boost. Says, how do I collect the names and the emails and the contact information from my boosted social posts?
There's two ways to do it. One, you can do it on your website. So when you boost your post, they read your ad and they click. Give them, have them send it to a page where they're able to, sign up right then and there. Two, you can actually use what is called a Facebook lead ad. Now, I don't think you can do that. You might be able to do that with a boosted post. I'm not sure. But what you can do though is you can, if you can't do it with a boost, you can just go into Facebook and then select lead ad and then use your post as the lead ad. And what that'll do is it makes the little form. So like you'll have the post that's being run as an ad and they click sign up, and then underneath the little box opens up where they can enter their name, contact information. You can just have the email if you want. You can collect a whole bunch of different stuff if you want. But those are basically the two ways to be able to do that. That's called a Facebook lead ad, and those will integrate too with your email services. So like Aweber, GetResponse, instead of just collecting people on a spreadsheet, those will actually go in and send people into your email autoresponders.
All right. Because I remember hearing about that one, but I thought it just went into Facebook and you had to download it. But it connects to you.
When they first came out, you just have to download them, but now you can connect them to all those.
That's good.
It was such a pain in the butt for everybody, and nobody wanted to use it. But eventually, I think it was eventually Zapier found a way to
do the zap.
Yeah, well, that's good. That's good. Yeah, because I think a lot of people I think at least locally, they put up the ad and they're missing that piece, that follow-up piece, as you talked about. All of the other things, the retargeting, they're missing those other little pieces. But one thing that I want to tack back to, and apologies for coming in and out.
We forgive you. We forgive you.
Yes. But I wanted to find out, had we talked about tracking at all?
No, didn't touch on that at all. And it's somewhat, in a sense, the boosted ad. When you do a boosted ad, is it better instead of letting my campaign manager just do boosted ads, or should it really be a ad campaign within Facebook to really get to the meat of growing my audience?
I say that depends, and it depends on two things: how new you are. So if you're brand new, boosted ads is a great place to start. You're getting the same type of ads that you normally would get when you use the campaign manager. It's just an easier way of doing it. Now, if eventually when you get to the point where you're running a lot of Facebook traffic, use the campaign manager. It gives you additional options for targeting, split testing and stuff. And it could be a little daunting to use if you're brand new, but I'd say to just get your feet wet, start using the boost. But at the end of the day, I mean, you're getting the same type of traffic. I mean, it's not like the boosted post is any inferior to like if you use the ads manager. The ads manager just gives you more abilities to do stuff like split tests, to run different to run some different types of campaigns and whatnot. So the boost is a great place to start if you're new.
Right.
Well, that's good.
Excellent. And then that will give you, can you do tracking with a boosted ad?
Tracking, you mean tracking like if people opt in, you know, or if they become leads in sales?
Or like to set up, like to track for audiences, to collect audiences for retargeting.
You know, it's funny. So I think the answer to that would be that's usually done through the pixel, which is on your website. Or interacted through your ad. So yeah, I mean, it would still work the same. I mean, you can still collect audiences through a boosted post. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, that's good to know. That's updated.
Excellent.
All right.
All right. So is Facebook still relevant in terms of giving me new audiences or finding new markets for a business to be looking for to grow their audience?
Yeah, I think so. You know, using things like lookalike posts will always get you new audiences, and they'll always go out and find more. There's tools out there, and again, it depends on your industry. If you're a lot broader, you've got stuff where you can use different tools. I think there's one. It's called I can't remember the name of it. It's something Reconnect.io, or I can't remember the name of the tool right now. But if you look on there, it's like Audience Explorer.io or something. Okay. It goes out and you'll find these little pockets of audiences that you normally wouldn't think of. It can help you identify them. If you're a narrow audience, it's a little bit harder to do, you know, after you've kind of got those main people that work. So then it comes down to sometimes you might have to change up your message or whatnot. Like if you're advertising to very, very specific people that like very specific things. So it depends a little bit, but there's always ways, you know, if you're targeting broader interests, you know, lookalike audiences are great in terms of finding all these people that are going to be interested in your stuff.
I remember back in the day when we would do an ad and you would say in the interest level, you would say, I want to target Matt Barron's audience. Can we do that still?
It depends on who. You still can't, and it's interesting. I don't know. I mean, this is going on 8 years, but there's just still audiences you can't target in Facebook. I don't know why that's never changed. I don't know how and why the reason for that. I'd love to know someday, but it just depends on the audience. There's people with big audiences on Facebook that you just can't target, you know? Right.
So they've kind of taken that away from the ad campaign. Because I remember we back in the day when we started doing ads, they would tell us, yeah, go and look up Jesse Jameson, go look up what you call it, Ray Higdon, and target his audience, you know?
I mean, that's still available. It just kind of depends on who the person is, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
and what the niche is,
yes. So we could go do Barack Obama.
Yeah. I've never tried, but it probably could.
Yeah, it probably could, because it's too big, right? it's like targeted. I don't know. So anyway, well, we're almost at half an hour. I think we've gone through quite a bit.
It's a lot of information.
Yes, a lot of information that has been thrown at us. Matt, I'd love you to just wrap up by just telling us 3 things that are business right now, because we're really speaking to businesses in this time right now, and just 3 things inside of the ads world what are 3 things they could go and do right now to, you know, start off right? I know we probably covered them here, but I just wanted to summarize.
So I think the 3 things you could do is 1, get very clear on your customer, who they are. That means, you know, exactly who's buying from you. Are they younger people? Are they older people or whatnot? 2, run an ad, boost an ad. If you've never done it before, do the boost, but there's no reason you have to start doing the ads manager. You can boost that ad. And then 3, get familiar with the data you're getting after you spend that money. You know, look and see what happened. What did I do? Were my results any good? Did I get any customers? Did I get leads? Did I get sales? And then figure out something that you think maybe why people didn't respond to it. Look at the comments on the ad and see, okay, what can I change to make this better?
Right, great. Yes. So you got to basically define who you're going after, go after them, and then review what happened. Exactly. All right. Well, thank you so much, Matt, for your time. Bernie, who's our guest next week, or do we unidentified?
We are talking copy. We are talking copy conversion.
Copy conversion
to
right.
answer the relevancy, to keep people, to keep you in front of your relevant market, and to keep your audience seeing you as continuing to be relevant to them, to deliver your transparency, tell people who you are and be who you promised that you want to be, and to compel them. What copy helps you to compel people to click the button and click and click and click.
And keep clicking. Keep saying
yes.
Yes. Yeah. Click, as in click the subscribe, right? Good.
Yeah,
anyway,
yeah.
So thank you again. And we will see you all next week, 10:30 Eastern, right here on the channel. And you can always catch the live if you're watching a snippet of this. You want to join the group and start getting more information. The link is also in the description. It's Business Development TT. Yes. All right. Have a great day, and I will talk to you all soon. Everybody, bye. Thanks, Matt.
Thanks for joining. Thanks, Matt. Lovely.